I haven't met a Chief Growth Officer before, but I'm going to do it today. We're crossing to, I think it's Sydney. Gavin, is that correct? Gavin Levinsohn is joining us. He's the GCO of a company called eftsure. I want Gavin to, welcome to The Informer. I want you to explain what eftsure does and what makes you tick. In that order.
George.
In that order.
Yeah. Thanks, George. What eftsure does is eftsure protects companies from paying the wrong people. We make sure you don't lose money when you pay suppliers, whether due to fraud, which is sadly increasingly the case, or error in your payment process. So that's what we do. And I will answer what makes eftsure tick, and then I'll tell you what makes me tick.
Good.
What makes eftsure tick is we're really committed to keeping Australian businesses safer. Obviously, we're a commercial enterprise, but Australian businesses are radically targeted by cyber criminals, and we do want to keep their payments safe. What makes me tick, I guess, is taking some technology, taking some innovation, and applying it in an area that is surprisingly antiquated, which is payments controls.
It's extraordinary to hear you say that, because we are an affluent country. We're a pretty advanced country. We should be one of the better positioned nations and economies, and our businesses should be some of the sharpest in the world. And to hear you say we're antiquated in our practices, we're a bit naive in some other areas, and that we need to really step up is quite alarming on one level, because I remember someone saying to me the other day that cyber crime is costing businesses in Australia up to $2.5 billion, and that's with a B, not an M, $2.5 billion a month. And that's money that's just out of my mind. I can't believe that number.
Yeah, I don't know what, they're widely reported statistics, but it's a multi-billion-dollar a year problem. And there's a recent report out by the ACCC which says $630 million of scams, just scams, have been reported to ScamWatch in Australia, and we know those numbers are always underreported. Just to unpack my previous comment, Australian business is innovative, it is sharp, and digital transformation has affected many areas of business. However, when it comes to checking who you're paying, it's still often reliant on email, PDFs, sourcing phone numbers, looking at what's on invoicing, and that's quite manual. What we like to say is, when you're facing this cyber criminal adversary who is resourced, organized, intentional, committed, educated, and you're just looking at PDF documents and taking information off invoices, well, it's a bit like taking a knife to a gunfight. I guess you will lose. You will.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It's a great analogy. Okay, so how does eftsure work? Is it electronic surveillance or something much more in terms of programming that you install?
Yeah, it's a very different approach, in much the same way that, and I'll make a quick analogy, in much the same way that Google Maps sources data from lots of different places. The term is crowdsourcing, but it sources data from lots of places to tell you where traffic is slowed down, where the most efficient way of getting to your destination is, and helps you navigate. At the heart of our system is a massive database of verified Australian businesses. That database is over 1.2 million businesses that are verified, where we've verified their bank account details and matched those details to their name and ABN numbers. Okay, and we're the only database like that in this country. There are only 2.1 million businesses by ABN in Australia, and we've verified more than half of them. And then what our software does is it allows our customers to compare the information they're using to pay people with that database at any moment in time. So there's a database, and then there's a software that sits in your web browser, very easy to install. And anytime you make a payment on your online banking screen, we will give you live alerts in the form of simple traffic light symbols, a green thumb, a red thumb, to say this payee is verified or there's a mismatch.
Okay.
Super simple.
Gavin, that's exciting. That's fantastic to have. But I'm very aware of something that happened in a business to someone that I know very, very well. They were paying their own office, their own international office in Chicago, and the check, or not the check, but the payment details were sent in the email, and it was delivered. We're talking about $250,000. And a week later, the details had not been confirmed from the other end, and my friend reached out to the office and said, have you received the money? And they said, no, we haven't seen the money. Federal police eventually tracked it down, and it was money that was redirected to Turkey and beyond from there on. And the likely source, we were informed, was that ISIS was using it for its own needs. So it's that simple.
Yeah, so firstly, it is happening, and it's happening every single day. Businesses are being attacked and defrauded. The second comment is it's surprisingly easy to do if you're a cyber criminal. What they're doing is it's as much technology as it is psychology. They're manipulating the payer into paying not who they think they are. And how they do that is they, more often than not, infiltrate a supplier or an executive's email account. They impersonate that person and, in effect, weaponize their email account to dupe the recipient into processing incorrect bank details. So in your example, the paying company thought they were paying someone in Chicago, but they were in fact paying into a bank account in Turkey. And whether that payment is domestic or global, the chances are there's a 90% chance that how that fraud happened was the supplier or the payee's details were impersonated and changed through email.